Hello dear students. In this session we are going to see the losses in pre-stress. Okay. So in the previous lecture we have seen the actual amount of or actual analysis methods, that is strength concept and load balancing concept. So here in this session we are going to we are going to take a look at some losses. Okay, and this is the main part, as there is a compulsory one question will be in our NSEM exam. Okay, for 10 to 8 marks. And we know as we are going to apply here some particular or some planned amount of or calculated amount of stress in the tendon. So by doing this whole process, there there are some losses that we have to consider, and we'll look one by one. So in this diagram there are totals or there is a stage or steps. The first diagram is unstressed beam, that means the load is just applied, and the second diagram there is a load deflection. Okay, deflection of beam in the downward direction. This is the normal case, or this is the normal our RCC beam. Okay, in this third diagram there are tendons which are stressed, and in fourth diagram the tendons are cut or tendons are released. That means pre-stress has or pre-stress is going to uh, act on that particular beam. Okay, so while the pre-stress force, or while we have cut the tendons, the pre-stressing force is applied, and because of that pre-stressing force there will be a uh, deflection, or we call here clearly as pre-stress deflection. Okay, pre-stress deflection is occurring in upward direction. Okay, and this sixth diagram there is a total deflection of beam or total pre-stress deflection of beam. So why this particular deflection, or why this particular amount of change in length is happening while we have planned all the things. Okay, we have planned concrete, or we are using high grade concrete, high grade steel. Okay, we are applying tension in a very planned or in a very precise manner by doing all the quality work, or by doing all the quality workmanship. So apart from this there are some losses, or there are some condition that we can't stop, or we can minimize at particular level. So we'll look one by one. So there are the losses in pre-stressed concrete. So as we have already divided our pre-stressed structure into two parts, post pre-tension and post-tension. So here there are some short-term losses which are occurring for that particular time, or while that pre-stressing process is happening, that particular losses are there for that particular time. And there are some long-term losses are which are because of some constant load, or because of some after the concrete gets some desired shape and strength, then afterwards the long term losses are going to happen, or are there. Okay, so in pre-tensioning and in post-tensioning there are both short term and long term losses. So we'll see one by one. In pre-tensioning there is a elastic shortening loss, and in post-tensioning there is not elastic shortening loss. Why this is happening, or the basic idea behind this is that in pre-tensioning we are going to apply some particular amount of stress. Okay, and then we are going to do the, or then we are going to cut the particular tendon. Okay, and then we are going to do concreting work. So at this stage there is some elastic shortening loss in the steel. Okay, and in post tensioning there is a not elastic shortening loss, as we are going to apply tension at in all the tendons at the same time. Also here in pre-tension member, suppose for example there are three tendons are used at a particular or apart from distance with a particular gap or particular distance in between them. So while we are applying tension or while we are applying some particular amount of stress, we are going to uh, do this in a sequential manner. First we are going to apply tension to the first tendon, then second, then third, then fourth, like that. But in post tensioning we are going to apply tension at in all the tendons at a time, okay, at the same time. So because of there is a no any elastic shortening loss in post tension member. Now friction loss and anchorage slip loss is there in post tension member and it is not there in pre tensioning member. Again the idea behind is in post tensioning we are going to leave some duct or we are going to leave some space for duct, and in that duct we are putting our tendon, and uh, then we are going to do concreting work, and after this concreting has done, we are going to apply tension to the member and then we are going to cut the tendons. So because of this concreting work there is some friction or there is some frictional loss in tendon and in concrete. So that loss is present in post tensioning member only, it is not present in pre tensioning. Okay, obviously it will not happen in pre tensioning because there we are first applying or we have first placed our tendon and then we are going to do concreting here in pre-tensioning. Okay, so that's why there is not any friction, or if there is any friction that will not be that particular considerable amount. Okay, but in post-tensioning the frictional loss is there and we have to consider that because it is very important loss in post-tension. Okay, major loss. Okay, same with the case of anchorage slip. Then there are long term losses, creep loss, shrinkage loss and relaxation loss. Okay, these three losses are there in both the concrete type. Okay, creep loss, shrinkage loss and relaxation loss. Okay, so what these losses are actually, and what the quantification or what is the formula for finding these losses, we are going to see here one by one. So again the same losses: immediate loss and time dependent loss, means short term losses and long term losses. So just see this diagram very carefully and remember this chart. Okay, uh, short term or immediate losses are elastic shortening, friction and anchorage slip. Okay, and time dependent losses are creep, shrinkage and relaxation. Now elastic shortening loss or um, in pre-tension concrete, when pre-stress is transferred to the concrete, the member shortens and pre-stressing steel also shortens in it. Hence, there is a loss of pre-stress. So, this elastic shortening loss is particularly there in pre-tension member only. It is not there in post-tension member. Okay. So, when we are going to apply stress or when we are cutting that particular tendon, okay, then there will be a elastic shortening. Okay, so that loss of tension is there and that is known as loss due to elastic shortening. So there is again one concept behind how to calculate this loss or how to quantify this loss. So that can be quantified or that can be calculated by the way we are going to apply tension. Okay, so in case of post tensioning, if all the cables are tensioned simultaneously, there is a no loss since the applied stress recorded after elastic shortening has completely occurred. Okay, so if we are going to apply stress or we are going to do the tensioning to the cables simultaneously at a time, then there is no any loss because of elastic shortening. But if the cables are tensioned sequentially or subsequently or one by one, there is a loss in tendon during subsequent stretching of other tendons. Okay, so this is the main idea behind elastic shortening. So in this diagram, there is application of pre-stress to a pre-tension member. Okay, so first the tendon is cut and then concreting is done. So once this uh, cutting or once this pre-stressing has completely done, this tendon inside here will go particular amount of will experience some amount of elastic shortening. Okay, so there will be some particular amount of elastic shortening to this particular cable. Okay, then in case of pre-stress or in case of post tension member, see here we are going to apply the tensioning with the help of jack. Okay, so this is the jack. So if there are some more tensions or some more tendons are there and we are going to apply tendons to this three tendons with this jack at a time, then there will not be any loss in post tension member. Okay, but or in simple words, elastic shortening loss is only there in pre-tension member. Okay, because we are going to apply tension to the tendons sequentially or one by one. So how to quantify or how to uh, get this particular value or get the loss value? So for that this formulation is here. So when we are going to apply pre-stress to the concrete, elastic shortening takes place. This results in equal and simultaneous shortening of pre-stressing steel. So loss due to elastic shortening can be calculated as, we know strain is equals to, or we know Young's modulus E is equals to stress upon strain. So by using this is a stress in this Fp is stress in concrete, this is strain in concrete, and this Ep is elastic modulus of concrete. Okay, or elastic modulus of concrete only. So by using this relation, E is equals to, sorry, by using this relation, E is equals to, we are E is equals to stress upon strain, we are going to calculate this particular loss. So Ep is equals to Fc upon Ec, that Fc upon Ec means stress in steel and stress in concrete. Okay, Fp is drop of pre-stress in tendon and Ec is the strain in concrete. Okay, so that means modular ratio M. So Fp is equals to MFc. Now what is Fc? M is modular ratio, Fp is loss of pre-stress in tendon. Okay, there is particular suppose we have applied 150 kilonewton per meter square of stress in that particular tendon, and because of this elastic shortening there is a 5% loss. Okay, so that drop of 5% is Fp. Okay, and what is Fc? That means stress in concrete at the level of steel. Okay, so that is calculated as P by A plus M by I. Okay, M by Z. Okay, exactly. So that M movement is P into eccentricity. Okay, okay, and that means this is M, and this I and means M by Z means I by E. Okay, E is we consider here that particular eccentricity will be at center, or that will consider as E, that Y distance will consider as E. So that's why P by A plus PE square upon I is the Fc, that means stress in concrete at the level of steel. So next loss and important loss is loss due to friction, and this loss is only there in post tensioning member. Okay, if the cable profile is linear, there the loss will be due to stretching or strengthening of the cables is called wobble effect. Wobble means so consider, for example, we have kept one thread in a bottle which is open from both the ends. Okay, so treat that open both ended open bottle as a beam and that thread as a tendon. Okay, so we have we are going to strengthen or we are going to stretch that particular thread, then there will be a wobble effect, means that thread will move or that thread will try to locate his own position, so that means wobbling. Okay, so that wobble effect is because when the cable profile is linear. Okay, that if that loss is or that type of loss is known as wobble effect loss. Okay, and if the profile is curved, there will be a loss in stress due to friction between tendon and duct or between the tendons themselves. So same consider same example, if that thread is curved. Okay, so and the bottle is of very small diameter or small means we are avoiding here some high depth beams. Okay, so we are doing that strain part by using or we are strengthening that particular beam. Instead of providing more depth, we are giving high tensile steel and high 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 amount of concreting. Okay, so suppose that thread is curved and then we are going to make it straight, so that there will be some amount of friction. Okay, in between that particular thread and bottle, or suppose we have we put three threads. Okay, so when once we are going to strengthen or once we are going to stretch that particular threads, so there will be a friction between that three threads and plus bottle also. Okay, so that effect is known as effect due to curvature. Okay, so there are two cases, because of linear cable and because of curved cable. Okay, then loss due to friction post tension member. So see this diagram. So this is one tendon which is provided here and this is the anchorage system. Okay, so this is the anchorage system and this is the grout tube. So after this all happen, the space between duct and that particular tendon, we are going to put that tendon in duct. Okay, so there is some gap between duct and cable and that will be filled by using the grout, cement grout. Okay, and so this effect or this is because of there is a curved tendon. So friction is generated due to curvature of tendon and vertical component of pre-stressing force. Okay, because of that friction is produced here. So see this curvature, because of this curvature we are that there will be a friction. So how to quantify or how to evaluate the loss due to friction? The magnitude of pre-stressing force Px at any distance x from the tensioning end follows an exponential function. The type loss due to friction in post tensioning member is given by this formula. This is very important formula. Px is equals to P0E P0 into e raised to minus mu x plus kx. Now P0 is a pre-stressing force as jagging and or initial pre-stress. Okay, mu is the coefficient of friction between cable and the duct. Alpha is the cumulative angle in radian through which the tangent to the cable profile has turned between 2 points under consideration. what this alpha means exactly will get clear while we are solving one numerical. So till now just consider alpha is the cumulative angle in radian, and k is the friction effect, or k is the coefficient of wobbling effect or curvature effect. Okay, then loss due to anchorage slip. In most tensioning system, when the cable is tensioned and jack is released to transfer pre-stress to connect the friction, wedges employed to grip wires and slip over a small distance before the wires are finally stretched between the wedges. Wedges means the end supports from which we are going to apply the tension. So, the magnitude of slip can be known from the test or from the patents of anchorage system. The loss of stress is caused by a definite amount of shortening, and this anchorage slip loss is calculated, or it can be quantified as by P by A is equal minus ES delta upon L. Okay, so delta is slip of anchorage, L is length of cable, A is cross sectional area of cable, ES modulus of elasticity of steel 2 into 10 raised to 5 Newton per mm square, and P is the pre-stressing force in cable. Okay, so there is a loss due to anchorage slip is also there in only post tensioning member. Now moving towards the time dependent losses or long term losses, creep, shrinkage and relaxation losses are there. So creep, what do you mean by creep? Creep is a property of concrete by which it continues to deform with time under sustained load at a unit stress with a accepted elastic range. Means because of constant load or because of sustained loads there will be some deformation or there will be some deflection of particular beam or slab. So with the time is known as creep of concrete. This is in elastic deformation increases at decreasing rate during the time of loading, and total magnitude may be several times as large as short term elastic deformation. The strain due to creep may vary with the magnitude of stress, and it is totally time dependent loss. Okay, the creep of concrete results in loss in steel. Okay, the loss of stress due to creep can be calculated by two methods. So before going moving with that two methods, what are the causes or what are the factors affecting creep and shrinkage, that we'll see here. age age of that particular beam or construction, applied stress level, density of concrete, cement content in concrete, water cement ratio, relative humidity and temperature. So also here water cement ratio and cement content in concrete is a that this matters very much. Okay, and for shrinkage we consider relative humidity and temperature. So because of these two factors there will be shrinkage loss, or if we have not taken care of this relative humidity and temperature there will be a loss due to shrinkage. So see this diagram, there is a creep deflection in this road bridge. So creep is the property of concrete by which it continues to deform with the time under sustained loads at a unit stress with the acceptable elastic range. The strain due to creep may vary with the magnitude of stress. So we have already discussed that creep loss is calculated with two methods: ultimate creep strain method and creep coefficient method as per IS 1343. So by loss of creep by ultimate creep strain method is phi MFC. Okay, just uh, this formulas or this quantification just remember thoroughly, and it will be helpful for solving the numericals And also if you are going to attend some MPSC UPSC, so there is some portion kept for pre-stress, and in pre-stress if there are pre-stress there are always losses. Okay, losses are highlighting part of pre-stress structure. So for MCQ purpose or for objective purpose they can ask such type of questions. So just remember these formulas and just remember what is the significance of each and every term that we are used here in this particular formulas. Okay, so ultimate creep strain method law is equals to loss due to creep of concrete is creep strain into ES, modulus of sorry ES is the Young's modulus of concrete. Okay, Young's modulus of steel. Okay, phi is creep strain and M is the modular ratio ES upon EC. Steel's Young modulus of elasticity of steel divided by modulus of elasticity of concrete, and FC is the stress in concrete at the level of steel. So that can be calculated as P by A plus PE by I into E, eccentricity. Okay, and creep loss by using that IS code method that we'll study afterwards, or I'm going to show you the PDF version of IS code, and there I will explain you what that particular loss is. Okay, so loss of shrinkage in concrete. So as there is a creep there will be some amount of shrinkage means shrinkage loss will happen because of some dry weather or some humid weather, or if we have used their high grade of cement. Okay, and if that particular concrete has not has poorly cured. Okay, that curing is not done very proper. So this shrinkage, or there is some particular crack in particular beam or slab, so that means the loss of shrinkage. So shrinkage is defined as the change in volume of concrete member. It is dependent upon humidity in atmosphere with the passage of time, but it is unrelated to the application of load. So there is no any relation of load as in case of creep. So there is totally the environment. Okay, the humidity and temperature is responsible for the shrinkage loss. So factors affecting shrinkage are type of cement and aggregate and method of curing. Also use of high strength concrete with low water cement ratio results in reduction of shrinkage and consequent loss of pre-stress. The primary cause of drying shrinkage is the progressive loss of water from concrete, and in the case of pre-tensioning members generally moist curing is distorted in order to prevent the shrinkage until the time of stress transfer. Okay, so loss of shrinkage in pre-tension, there are two different formulas, or there are different terms used here. So in pre-tensioning member, loss due to shrinkage is calculated as ECS into E. ECS is shrinkage strain having value of 3 into 10 raised to minus 4. Okay, so in simple words, loss due to shrinkage in pre-tensioning or pre-tensioned member is equals to 3 into 10 raised to 4 into ES. Okay, and in post-tension member that loss is calculated as 2 into 10 raised to minus 4 uh, divided by log to the base 10 t plus 2 into ES. ES will be there in both the type of um, pre-stress member, pre-tensioning and post-tensioning, that ES amount will be different. So that ES is 3 into 10 raised to 4 for pre-tensioning member and 2 into 10 raised to minus 4 divided by log to the base 10 t plus 2 is for post tension member. T is the age of concrete at transfer in days, and ES is the modulus of elasticity of steel. Okay, understood? Then final or the last one, loss due to relaxation of stress in steel. Relaxation is assumed to mean the loss of stress in steel under nearly constant strain at a constant temperature. It is similar to creep of concrete. Due to relaxation, loss due to relaxation varies widely for different steels and steel manufacturers based for the test data that is supplied by the manufacturer. This loss is generally of the order 2% to 5% of the initial stress, and this is generally 1000 hours referred to a loading at a 27 degrees Celsius. So while we are doing this anchorage or tensioning process, there is a high temperature or there will be high temperatures. So there is a loss due to relaxation of stress in steel, and that loss is directly considered as 2% to 5% of initial stress. Okay, initial pre-stress. Then summary of losses as per IS 1343, or as we have discussed here. So this just remember this table very carefully. Type of loss: loss due to friction or curvature, because of curvature and wobbling effect. So the friction loss is only there in post tension member, and that can be calculated as P0 in bracket Kx plus mu alpha. Then loss due to anchorage slip, it is also same as loss due to friction, and it is only in post tension member. Delta L upon L is the deflection or the change in length to the original length, means strain into ES, modulus of elasticity of steel. Okay, and then loss due to elastic shortening, it is present in both the steel or both the concrete, M into Fc. And here there is one, or there are two conditions: if the tensions are if the tendons are simultaneously tension, and if the tendons are subsequently tension. Okay, according to that we will calculate the elastic shortening loss. Then creep of concrete, phi M Fc. And then creep of steel or relaxation of steel, it is a 1%, 1 to 5%, and here also 1 to 5%. And loss due to shrinkage of steel, 3 into 10 raised to minus 4 ES, and here 2 into 10 raised to minus 4 divided by log to the base 10 T plus 2 into ES. Okay, so these are the losses in pre-stress. Okay, by or because of some external factor and some internal factor. Okay, thank you.